Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Commerce Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Scott from jeffreyscottmedia.com. And on this episode, I want to talk about a strategy that I do to leverage my clients into giving me more work, and more work that would fit for more of the long term, and even paying me more on top of what I have already worked for the client. My thinking is, if you're already creating content, why not offer those services to businesses and manage their social media too? Not only will you be creating content for them, which would be like the one-off gig that you were hired for, but you can stay long-term and manage that content and post it for them on social media. As a professional content creator, you're already creating high-quality content for them to use, but now you can also offer an additional long-term service to strategize and schedule and draft up social media posts and manage that for them. And with that, you would become their social media manager. I mean, it's a nice title to have and it has a little bit more work, but I think it's something that you could offer, especially to your one-off clients who just ask for content. You can create it to be something long-term and manage that content for them. It comes in handy with businesses, so you can wear two hats instead of one, so they don't have to have two separate people. They can just work with one guy who can do both. But just be clear that you're a freelancer and you're not becoming their employee. So before we get all into that, let's get into the gear update and see what new gears come out. That's pretty cool. On this gear update, I want to feature the new Belkin Auto Tracking Stand Pro with Dock Kit. This new piece of tech is a nice platform for mounting your iPhone, so it will track and follow you even when you're shooting video. The Auto Tracking Stand Pro follows your face and body movements with 360-degree rotation and 90-degree tilt with what are claimed to be smooth, quiet motors. The internal battery offers 5 hours of operation on a full charge. I'm sure you've seen a lot of similar style devices where the camera just tracks and moves around with you, but a lot of them just have their own camera built into it. With this one, you just get to utilize your own phone and just plug and play. With the quality of the latest iPhones and the Auto Tracking Stand Pro, you can create a pretty good combination for certain applications. So quality is going to be high, no matter if it was a built-in camera on the system or if you just use your phone. The device features a 15-watt MagSafe wireless charging, so you can keep recording all day long. I think this is a great piece of tech to integrate into your setup, especially if you're a solo creator. And I guess going along with social media would be good to do social media content with. So yeah, you don't have to have anybody awkwardly holding the phone and recording you. You can just set this thing up and it'll do it for you. If I'm going to shoot with my phone, I'd rather shoot it by myself instead of asking someone to awkwardly shoot me with a phone. So, I think this is a good piece of tech, a good product to do solo shooting, even with just your phone to move it around and add some movement. The Belkin Auto Tracking Stand Pro with Dock Kit will be available to a pre-order soon for $179. So now let's get into the inspiration insight. On this inspiration insight, and in the spirit of social media, I want to challenge you to consistently post on social media. I said this a long time ago in some episode in the past, but if you're creating content for other people, why not create content for yourself and then consistently post it? That's sort of the reason why I created this podcast in the first place. I've been doing freelance work for all these companies and clients and stuff, but I never really created anything for myself or things to show for me. So if you want to be seen or show off your certain style of work, then post some fun stuff of your own creation on social media. I think the whole idea is to create a personal brand for yourself and for people to be aware that you're still creating cool stuff. Even if you're not working for a client, you're still creating cool stuff for yourself and you're just putting it out there for people to see. You don't want to be like a shadowy business person that only comes out of their shell whenever a client pops up and it's like, oh, look at this thing that I made for this client. And then you go back and hibernate and you don't post anything until you get another client or some big name that you want to show off for. Consistently post, have people see your work. It also just allows you to experiment and explore different creative fields, like different styles of photography or different styles of videography, and just lets you have fun with the hobby itself and just posting for fun. I've been enjoying creating content for myself. I try to post something new every week, even just once a week on my Instagram, just some idea I have with photography or videography, just kind of challenging myself to create something for myself and something that I think is cool that I would want to put out there on my personal social media. Like I said, even just doing it once a week, it kind of takes you out of the business mindset and having to make money. You kind of get to enjoy the hobby as it is and be passionate and creative for creating for no other reason than, hey, I thought this was cool, so I'm going to go shoot. It kind of gives me the privilege to do professional work as a hobbyist. So, the hobby being my professional work. And then also creating content for myself that I actually enjoy. Not saying that I don't enjoy the professional work, but I get to go out and explore different ideas on my own terms that I would want to post for my personal brand. There's also no professional pressure to make it perfect for the client. Like if the client's really nitpicky or whatever, you're the client at the end of the day. So you get the final say of what you think is cool and what's not. At the end of the day, it's just for fun. So like I said, just keep up with your personal brand and post consistently and show that you just don't create professional content, but that you're a living person with hobbies and creative ideas, and post consistently on social media. And even if you have like a high enough skill level with it, whether it's photography, videography, or if you have some sort of insight to share, you can create educational content. Short form educational content is kind of, I don't know if it's blowing up. I mean, it's been blowing up, it's still big, but educational content over the past few years has been very high and it's been very helpful. Even just scrolling nowadays, you just get some guy that shows up to tell you how to do something or share a quick tip about something. So if you've got something to share, some educational content might help, because it's really easy to create that since you're providing upfront value for free immediately. Kind of goes with the whole algorithm of social media and how that works. Like you want that quick dopamine hit. If it's a funny video or whatever, you get straight to the point with the hook. Educational content, you're 100% giving free value. So there's nothing that you got to pitch yourself like, oh, am I going to be funny? Or is this video going to hook somebody? You're providing 100% value with the education and like the tips. Just trying to throw a few ideas out there to have you consistently post on social media. But I just think having a good image of yourself out there is important to be presenting a face behind your brand. If you want to share your content and have a chance to be featured on the podcast, use hashtag #InspirationInsight and tag me in your post. So now let's get into the main topic of leveraging social media management within your main services, or maybe it'll be a secondary service to what you already provide. In the realm of content creation, I think it's one step to create the content, and the second step is to manage that content for somebody else. Either you managing it solo still, you're still a solo freelancer, and you're the solo social media manager, or you create some sort of agency that handles the social media management while you work for clients, and then you kind of ship them down the funnel of having that be managed by other people. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like a double bonus. You get to create the content, and then you get to post that same content you made for them. Wearing both hats is definitely more valuable to somebody in business than hiring two separate people who just only wear one hat and can only do one thing. And if you want to get into this, this is a very good way to expand your portfolio in a different way that relates to the rest of your services. Not only will you have photos, videos, or anything else you create on your portfolio already, but now you get to show actual results of what your content did for certain clients if you have any social proof, or if you manage their social media and you have those analytics and results of you posting that content that you created. Testimonials are one thing, but the actual real social proof and results is what people want to see. Like with your content, you get A, B, and C, and here's what actually happened for somebody else that I work for. I think by offering social media management, you get to unlock different and new revenue streams. It's not just about the content that you create anymore. It's about how that content effectively pushes itself online and creates beneficial results for your clients. You're already kind of representing the brand and kind of what they want to show for whenever you're creating the content. But if you get into the social media management, you kind of have to take on the persona of that brand and represent your content under that light to promote them. Partnering with businesses introduces a collaborative dynamic. You're not just a freelancer, you're also a strategic partner contributing to the growth of the brand. Instead of just this being a one-off, one-time client that you created content for, now you're offering more valuable services to work with them long-term. And now that you kind of, I wouldn't really say locked them into working with you, but now that you've kind of set them up on social media, they depend on you to post stuff, they kind of rely on you to fulfill that role long term, so they don't have to take it over, and you already set up all the systems and stuff and you're managing it. So who's going to replace that person if they just decide to drop you? You kind of created all of that from the ground up. It makes you less replaceable, since, a content creator can be easily replaceable, but a content creator who also manages social media, the more hats you put on, the more valuable and less replaceable you become. By offering something valuable that you can only do, they'll have no choice but to depend on you for the long term. I think this is how you successfully get a great retainer client. And it can apply to any client, that even if you view it as just a one-time thing, you can kind of get them into this mindset of, hey, created content with you, hope I can create more content with you in the future, but how about we kind of leverage and strategize how we can post this content to be the most effective for your brand. I've been working for a company for the past year doing just this. Just for the first year or a few months, I was just their podcast video editor and been doing that. But after doing a little bit of research, I noticed that they didn't have any social media presence. So I was like, hey, how about we post clips of your podcast on social media? Or if you have any articles or blogs, we can put that on LinkedIn or something. But after some negotiating, we set up a retainer for me to freelance as not only their podcast video editor, but then as their social media manager, taking the content that I've edited or new content that I'll start creating for them and posting that all on social media for them. And out of all of this, I'm not their employee, I'm still a freelancer. I get to set my own prices, I get to set when I get paid, and I deliver quality work and collaborate with them for whatever they need to fit in with the needs of their company. Like I already said a couple times, you're more valuable with the more hats that you're able to wear. And when I keep saying more hats, that's more skills, more responsibilities that you could take on over just one person who has one set of skills or only one responsibility. Even if you're an employee for a company, it goes for jobs as well. You can become more valuable with the more responsibilities and things that you can provide to the company. It's better to hire one guy that can do 3 different things than hire 3 people who can do one thing. It's more cost effective, and it goes to show that if they're able to do those 3 things, then they're pretty skilled. So with this example, with this company, I'm a content creator and their social media manager. So 2 responsibilities, 2 roles. With this new role of being a social media manager, it's more than just creating the content and posting it. Of course, there's going to be more work involved, but it's worth it since you're working with them for the long term instead of just here and there, or just one-off. Social media management also involves listening to the audience, responding to comments, and adapting to the different trends that you see on social media and posting accordingly with them. Some companies may want to give you an advertising budget to boost posts that you might create. And as their social media manager, you would manage that as well and advertise with the content that you would have had to create. For my social media management gigs, I respond to all the comments, I tag the appropriate people that we mention, and all the work that goes into representing a certain brand on social media. But at the same time, again, I'm not their employee. I'm a freelancer who is educated about their company, and I've done my homework on how to effectively represent them as a brand, even seeing their style guide or how they currently or before represented themselves in copy on their website, how they speak, what's their brand voice, how do they come across, things like that. But all in all, juggling content creation and social media management requires effective time management. Just try to figure out a balance that allows you to deliver quality content while maintaining an active and engaging social media presence for your clients and audience. Like I said before, as you gain more traction on social media and you have the social proof, you have more results to show for your other clients for content creation, or maybe future social media management gigs. Over the long term, you're essentially creating your own social proof for your own services in the future. And all at the same time, you're getting paid for it to create your own results, not just for you, but for the company as well. But you'll get to show for those results on your website or portfolio because you did both of the work. It would be such a great statistic or such a great thing to show that when you created social media profiles for this one company, you had 0 followers, but then you grew it all the way to like 1,000+ followers. That's real results that people want to see if they're skeptical or they're not even on social media to begin with. It's like, hey, from this time to this time, I created new accounts, I managed everything, and I grew them from 0 to 1,000 in how many ever months or whatever with my content that I created and managed on your social media platforms that I will hopefully be able to create for you. You can also show off the engagement you've earned and how you've interacted with the company's audience, showing how you can adapt to their brand voice, their brand image, and how you can do your homework and study how they work, not being an employee, not being like an executive, but you can show that you can quickly understand how that brand wants to influence people, how they want to be represented, and just other inner workings of how to engage with the audience, showing those skills as well. These impact stories will show off the strategies that you can provide to your prospective clients' brands. Social media is a dynamic, and so should your strategies too. Try to embrace a mindset of continuous learning. Again, you're not just the content creator shipping off the content that you create and just basically saying, good luck with it, I hope you're able to post it and then get good results from it. But you have a deeper role and connection in the content that you create. You add a meaningful sense of passion since you're already creating the content, but now you have a personal purpose as to, okay, I'm creating this content and I'm actually going to be posting it myself for this company. And stay up to date with emerging trends and new features across platforms, especially with like Instagram Reels or TikToks, like popular sounds that are coming up, music. This will ensure that your social media management remains effective, innovative, and up-to-date and fresh. I know I'm going on and on about the responsibilities of how you should run this new kind of service that you could offer, but what kind of businesses should you look for to do this with? I don't think that's something that you could actively look for unless you find some local business that doesn't have a website or doesn't have social media. Then yeah, you could target them for that specific service. But at least for me, it just kind of showed up. What I mean is that I already had a client that wanted photo or video work from me, and it was just like a one-time gig or maybe here and there. But after doing my research on them, checking them out, you have that warm lead, you have that contact. So you can just check out their stuff, how it's doing, and if you can either create it for them or do it better than what they already have. But lucky for me, for some of my cases, they have a website, yeah, it's okay. Or maybe they just don't have social media at all. It's just non-existent. So not having social media at all is like a golden ticket. It's like, why aren't you on there? Here are your competitors. They are all on social media. They have thousands of followers. Those eyeballs and attention are going to go over to them because you've got nothing to show for online except your website. I think that's the reason that many businesses have poor social media platforms. It's just because it's just one of the things that they don't immediately think about when starting a business. As a business owner, their primary focus is obviously the business itself and not all the little extra things. So if you're able to put on another hat for them and take one of their problems away, I'm sure they'll pay you whatever for you to manage that and take that stress off their plate. I mean, here's a real example of what I'm literally doing right now for the job that I'm working. So I work a full-time job as a Taekwondo master. So obviously the business's main focus is to enroll students and teach them Taekwondo. They're not really going to think about creating all the fun social media content stuff or engaging all the parents online. That's the little stuff that comes extra with the main business itself. So I'm actually getting paid more than the regular Taekwondo master because I'm offering my teaching skills, my social media management, content creation, and business management skills since I'm, of course, business driven. I'm essentially wearing like 4 or 5 different hats as one guy, which again makes me more valuable than some other average Taekwondo master that only knows how to teach Taekwondo. I'm not saying there's anything bad with only knowing how to do something that you're hired for, but if you want to be more valuable, you can offer different skills and benefits to the business to get paid more as one person who can do it all. Because what are the chances that you're going to come across somebody who is a Taekwondo master, knows martial arts in and out, and can teach it effectively, but they also can create professional content? Oh, hey, they can also run social media. Oh, hey, they can also manage your business for you. I don't think that's something that you can really come across in any job application that you can get, or I'm not trying to brag about myself, but I think it's very strategic that I've positioned myself in a way where I offer different valuable skills where it pays off for me to ask for a premium salary or get different perks that the average employee or average Taekwondo master that would want to walk in the door and teach would normally get. And if your client is still hesitant on the fact of making you the social media manager, just try to educate them on the importance of social media and having their face and represent their brand online. Help them understand the impact of having a robust online presence. Just really hone in and show how your combined skills can not only enhance visibility, but can also drive tangible business results. And like I just said, explain how valuable or rare it is to have somebody come by that can do both content creation and effectively post for them. Or if you're offering more skills that are unique combinations that you wouldn't really get with a normal content creator, like me with practicing Taekwondo, and then I also create content. That's not a very relatable connection to each hobby or interest. So having a combination of things that don't really relate, or getting into different niches or industries, something valuable that you can offer that'll make you seem more rare to come by. Like you are the guy that they're probably not going to see for a long while, or they're not going to get the chance to see for a long while. I hope that helped you have a better idea of how you can wear multiple hats to make yourself more valuable. And I also hope that this gave you a good idea of a new service that you can offer for your clients, other than just the normal packages or the normal, one service that you offer. It's kind of different than content creation, but it's within the same realm, and I think is the next step in the process of distributing the content that you create. Overall, I just think it's a great opportunity to score a retainer client, and just instead of just having that one-off content creation gig. And so with that, let's get into the content spotlight. On this content spotlight, I want to feature an account that is a bit out of the ordinary of what I would feature on the show. This account is a good example of how you could blend a business with valuable social media content. Since I do Taekwondo, this is a Taekwondo master that I've come across that I follow myself. He, of course, has his own school, but he's also very active on social media. His name is Master Kong, maybe. He not only posts about his school, but he also posts fun stuff, like kicking challenges or different fun stuff to not only promote his school and his classes, but kind of show the fun side of the martial art that many people don't get to see unless they attend classes or kind of do the things that don't really get to be seen behind closed doors. Also, another opportunity to blend in educational content with showing how to do different techniques or things like that. I think this account is a great example of how to blend a business with social media, because nobody just wants to see the product over and over again on social media. Like, imagine if you have like a burger place, right? Nobody wants to see the same burger being posted on your feed every other day. Show the happy customers, show, behind the counter making the burgers, things like that. The processes behind it, not just the product or service itself. Show the actual things behind the scenes too, or educational content again. Again, even with the captions, like don't even just say like, come on down and try our delicious burgers or whatever. Just have something more valuable than that. Of course, your main selling point is come on down and buy our burgers. Everybody's going to assume that. That's why you're on social media, to try to get them to your door. People don't like knowing that they're being sold to. So show something that makes them want to come without even knowing that they've been sold. In this case with Taekwondo, Master Kang is showing off his school in a fun way, educating on specific techniques and doing fun challenges that not only engage his students in person, but create fun, shareable content online. This is just another example of how two things that don't even relate can work very well. So you've got Taekwondo, a martial art, and then you've got content creation, photography, and videography. Two separate hobbies, two different things that don't even relate to each other. But if you can combine the two, it creates a ton of value because it's two separate things. Well, now it's on video, now it's on photo. And Master Kang or Kong is able to do it himself, even with just his phone. He can just record these videos and effectively post it on social media and get lots of hits. So he might be the most followed school in his local area, and he's kind of popular online. So maybe people would be like, oh, I want to go there because I've seen this guy on TikTok, I've actually saved a lot of his posts for me to keep in mind to do at my Taekwondo school now. Again, if you're into martial arts, or if you just want to check out a good example of how to blend a business with social media to keep it engaging and fun, check out Master Kang on Instagram at master_Kang. That's KANG_TKD_FCT. That's about it for this episode. I hope that showed you different options for any services or new services that you can provide. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks again for watching another episode of the Creative Commerce Podcast. I post episodes every week, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at jeffrey.scott for daily highlights and posts and clips and stuff like that. Again, thanks for watching and see you next week.